And because of that, Trevor Dooley has walked. He has not been arrested. There have been no investigation because he had the right to shoot and kill if he said that he felt threatened. Because, see, these new laws, it's not only black folk who get killed by them. We are all Trayvon Martin in this world, where the laws are allowing more people to get guns and more people to be able to shoot, to kill, and no questions asked later. Well, if you want to save Trayvon Martin, it's not just about race. Oh, no. It'd be easy if it was just about race. But wait a minute. It's also about guns and gun laws. It's about guns and gun laws. There are 3 reasons for the original Second Amendment that drove it to be a constitutional right for a well-armed militia, not individuals, which this recent conservative-leaning Supreme Court individualized the interpretation. And that was number 1. Without the gun, there was no way European colonists were going to steal the land from the native people. One of the greatest forms of ethnic cleansing that history has ever seen is when European colonists took land that was already inhabited because they had superior weapons. Without the gun, there was no way you're going to import African people and enslave them throughout their life and hold them against their will. And without the gun, they could not ensure they would never be recolonized by the British. There's no America without the gun. Americans love guns more than they love God. It is literally a fact that every Sunday morning when we gather like today, we literally have more guns in America than we have people who attend houses of worship on Sunday mornings. The gun is God in America. We got non-practicing Jews, non-practicing Catholics, non-practicing Protestants, but none of them are going to give up their gun. Because the gun is God in America. And until you deal with gun laws, there's going to be more Trayvon Martins, and there's going to be more David James. Since Gabrielle Gifford was shot in 2010 by Mr. Lofter, 22 states have introduced more liberal gun laws. Laws that were written not by citizens, but by the gun lobby, by the National Rifle Association, and put forth by their hired agents, those elected officials that you think are representing you as their constituency. They're representing the people who fill their campaign coffers. 22 more states, more liberal laws that now prohibit you from prohibiting people to bring guns to your school campus. A few years ago, you couldn't bring a gun on a school campus anywhere in the United States, but now in most states in the union, you can bring them to a primary campus, a secondary education campus, and now several states, you cannot stop people from bringing guns to a secondary or to a preschool campus. The new laws say that you can bring guns to any hospital. You can bring them into libraries and other public facilities. You can bring them into restaurants. You can even take them into bars. That's good. Guns and alcohol. Now, doesn't that make everybody feel more safe? In the name of defending my person, we are now all more at risk because the laws have become more liberal. The fear is driving more people to get guns, and the laws protect people who want to shoot and be asked no questions later. We've got to deal with guns and gun laws. There's no reason why Mr. Loeffner, in a non-military situation, should have been able to have a weapon that has a 33-round magazine clip, 2 pistols, so he fired off 66 rounds in 15 seconds, leaving 6 dead and 35 wounded. If he had only had an old-style 6-shooter, they stopped him when he reloaded. After 6 rounds, he might have killed 1 or 2 and might have shot 1 or 2 others, depending on his aim, but at least the scale of the tragedy would have come down. There is no justification for those type of weapons in a non-military situation. We've got to deal with guns, and we've got to deal with gun laws if we want to protect Trayvon Martin and even protect the David Jameses of this world. We've got to deal with the stand your ground laws and the castle laws, like in states of Wisconsin, that my home is my castle, and anyone approaches my castle, I have the right to shoot them, and I can't even be questioned. Well, just the other day, a few weeks ago, at Treasure Gray School. Where are you, Treasure? A kid brought a gun to school. One of several incidents that have happened lately. Because there's so many guns, people's right? Then now the kids are bringing guns to school. We used to have show and tell. We brought other stuff. They're bringing guns. And a whole lot more people going to die until we deal with guns and gun laws. We got to deal with law enforcement. Why is it that the Sanford, Florida police did a toxicology report and a background check on Trayvon Martin, who was killed, but didn't do a toxicology report or background check on George Zimmerman? They investigated the killer. They investigated the man who was killed because the mentality was, we want to see what he did to make this happen to him, because their mentality was, he must have deserved it. So we investigate the victim and not the victimizer. Law enforcement, this long, tragic relationship of law enforcement against the African American community after the end of slavery and after Reconstruction, when vagrancy laws were passed throughout the South. Vagrancy laws loosely define that any black man who doesn't have a job, who's found wandering in the community, can be arrested for vagrancy, which was a felony offense, which loosely gave local police the authority to just round up any black man who looked suspicious. Kind of like the new racial profiling laws in Arizona. Anybody who looks like they might be an immigrant. Well, what does a might be illegal look like? And they rounded them up, and when they were rounded up, they were sentenced to many years and sometimes life sentences of harsh labor, of physical labor. In other words, they were put right back on the plantation. It was a pretext for reinstitutionalizing the oppression of black men. And the local police were the agents. That relationship has always been there. When Nixon came to office in 1968, King having been shot in April, Kennedy having been shot in June, and Nixon elected in November, one of the first conversations he had in the Oval Office with his staff is, what are we going to do about the blacks? Because the cities are burning. I know. Nobody likes drugs. A war on drugs. Nixon declared the war on drugs, and that was the beginning of the paramilitary domestic police force going into black communities, asking young men to empty their pockets, which all of you need to know that in your Fourth Amendment right, you can absolutely tell a policeman no. They have no right to ask you to empty your pockets. Because if you empty your pockets and they find something on you, you volunteered it. It was not an illegal search and seizure because you voluntarily did it. As opposed to if you refuse and they search you, then it's an illegal search and seizure. But who knows that? And so these laws have been a pretext for cracking down. And while African Americans today, studies have shown they use illegal drugs equivalent to our proportion of the population, about 12%, and that's bad enough, but we are 62% of the people who are convicted of it. The war on poverty has been a war on black and brown people that has filled the jails, underdeveloped the black and Hispanic community, devastated families, crippled our economic growth, and filled the graveyards. That's right. And if you're going to save Trayvon Martin, we've got to deal with the systemic racism, institutional racism of law enforcement, no matter who gets offended by it. If we're going to save Trayvon Martin, let's bring it closer to home. We got to deal with parents. You know, it has always been the case that we have to teach our children to learn how to maximally protect themselves. I've been telling my son since he was a little boy, I'm proud of you that your friendship circle looks like the United Nations. But don't think all of y'all going to be treated the same. I'm not trying to make him cynical, but Jesus said, be wise as a serpent while you're gentle as a dove. Be gentle as a dove, have the harmless intentions of a dove, but be ready to match wits with snakes when you leave this house. Letting him know that if you act up in public, you are going to be perceived differently because a group of white boys on the corner is boys being boys. A group of black boys on the corner looks like a gang to a lot of folks. And you got to understand that dynamic. You argue with your girlfriend in a restaurant in public and slam your hand to the table like that, they're not going to come over and ask, sir, is there something I can do for you? They're going to call security first. They might treat somebody else different. And you've got to understand, because you've got to control those dynamics around you as most you can. When the police approach you, you've got to tell them what they want to know. Where are you going? Tell them where you're going. Save the hurt for later. If your hands are in your pockets, pull them out. And don't make no sudden moves. Don't reach for your cell phone. If it rings, let it ring. Don't reach for your wallet. And if you reach for anything, tell them what you're getting ready to reach for and get their permission to do it. Because more brothers have gotten killed over wallets and cell phones. Because for some reason, a wallet looks like a wallet in other people's hands, but a wallet looks like a gun to some people in my hands. Huh? We've got to teach our young people that when you're dealing with somebody like a Zimmerman, a stranger following you, you need to run. And you need to run screaming. He's after me. He's after me. He's after me. As much yelling as we do, we need to know when to yell to save our lives. Huh? Don't be too proud as a man to yell. Huh? Scream like a girl if you have to. Ah! I ain't ashamed. I just want to go home. Huh? Y'all point a gun at me right now. I'll go, ah! I'm just trying to survive. Oh, I'll get up there in the high. Call me sissy if you want to. I'm going home. Young men and young women, you cannot walk around in public oblivious to what's going on with you with your earplugs in your ears. Huh? You got to stay one step ahead of danger. There's a reason why they don't let you wear earplugs in your car. Because you cannot hear a honk of another car warning you that you're about to turn over into the lane and they might hit you. You cannot hear screeching tires. You cannot hear the siren of an ambulance or a police car. And when you're walking down the street, you can't hear gunfire a few blocks away. You can't hear the bark of a dog coming upon you. You can't hear footsteps behind you. You can't see. You don't have eyes in the back of your head, but my ears can hear what my eyes can't yet see. And sometimes I hear something and then I look around. Wait till you get on the bus to put the plugs in your ear. Keep your head on a swivel. There's a bullseye on you, baby. You got to know what's going on around you. Tell your girlfriend, baby, I'll call you back when I get on the bus. But I got to keep my head up right now. Because I got to know when something's coming at you. Listen, I'm one of the few. I'm one of the few adult males in my family ain't never been to jail. Not because I didn't go where some of the rest of them went, but somehow or another, God put in me early a little healthy sense of being scared. There's some brothers out there that say they ain't scared of nothing. That's why they dead. They ain't scared. That's why they in jail. They ain't scared. I was at the same parties. Oh, but I noticed when the room changed. I noticed that Junebug came in, and Junebug, he don't like bro over here. And when he came in, I know, oh, it's about to go down, and so it's about time for me to get up out of here. Man, where was you at, man? I had to go. Mama told me I had to be home. It's a good thing to meet curfew. Keep your head on a swivel. Oh, yeah, I bark a lot. I bark like a dog a lot because, you know, that's my hilltop attitude. But I know how to purr like a kitten, baby. I know how to purr like a kitten. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run. Ah! That's why I'm 50 years of age, ain't been to jail, no cuts all over me like Muhammad Ali, and I'm still so pretty because I know when to get out of town. We got to teach our children. Ladies, you got to teach your daughters. It may be legal for you to wear everything. But a wise woman knows what not to wear and when. Because some things that are for your husband's eyes only, if you throw it out there before other eyes, he'll have the same reaction as your husband and may not wait on a yes to take what they want. It's not about your rights. It's about what is appropriate. Paul said all things are lawful, but not all things are expedient. As much as you can, you got to take control of your own destiny. Listen, we got to get up out of here. Let me say this. If we're going to save Trayvon Martin, we got to deal with the Zimmermans of this world. Zimmerman's on Fox News every night. Totally unrepentant. Zimmerman's running for president. He can criticize what the president said, but had nothing to say about it himself. He would try to control your womb. Doesn't care if somebody gets shot down somewhere, because the people shot him down and the people sympathize with the shooter. They're hoping that they'll vote for them. So we got to deal with Zimmerman. We got to call Zimmerman out. We got to hold Zimmerman accountable. We've got to deal with the fear. We got to deal with the hate. We got to deal with the resentment. We got to deal with the unequal valuing we do of human life. And my brothers and my sisters, that until we deal with Zimmerman, a whole lot of people are going to be safe, and it's unsafe. It's not going to be just people who look like me. We got to deal with these gun laws. The gun is not a sacred right. We need a right to health care. We need a right to be healed. We don't need a right to kill. We need a right to be healed. We've got to deal with law enforcement to make sure everybody has equal protection under the law. We've got to deal with education. Why are we so comfortable with 50% dropout rates and an achievement gap between black and Hispanic youth in our urban centers? If white children were dropping out at 50% rate, we would overhaul the American education system. When are we going to value the futures of our children of color and stop business as usual? If we want to save Trayvon Martin, we got to educate Trayvon Martin. We got to protect Trayvon Martin. We got to cherish Trayvon Martin. We got to redefine Trayvon Martin. Stop stereotyping Trayvon Martin. And Trayvon Martin and his friends have got to stop stereotyping themselves. We can't run around and call ourselves notorious. We can't name our groups niggas with an attitude. Help me, somebody. Because you're buying into a legacy. If that's what you call yourself, I'm going to call you even worse. You set the pace, baby. We can't buy into it and then get mad about what we bought. Help me, somebody. I may have an attitude, but don't call me that. I am somebody. I deserve to be protected. I deserve to be loved. I play by the rules. I am not suspicion. I am a child of God. Have I got a witness? I play by the rules. I pay my taxes. I'm here and I ain't going nowhere. Have I got a witness? And there's not only phenomenal women, there are some phenomenal men. Have I got a witness? I don't need no extra special help. I just need a chance, and I need to be protected, and I need to be cared for. Have I got a witness? And if God be with me, God can stop the procession to the graveyard, and God can say to the Trayvon Martins, young man, get up. You got to do it yourself. Get up. Go to school. Get up. Leave the drugs alone. Get up. Avoid bad company. Get up. Listen to your parents. Get up. Go to church. Get up. Get down on your knees. Get up. Stand up for yourself. Get up. Get to the front of the class. Get up. Speak up. Study up. Stand up. Wait on God to lift you up. I'm pressing on the upward way. New heights I'm gaining.